Hi, you are watching SightsIn Plus, and this is Romesh Shivastu. Please do subscribe the channel for the HR news, for the HR updates and conversation with the top-notch HRs. Today, we are going to discuss about the HR challenges in banking industry. If you look at the financial year 2023 data, so this banking industry is facing a surge in attrition rate. HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, IndusInd Bank, Bandhan Bank have reported the attrition rate between 30 to 50%. HDFC Bank has reported the attrition rate of 40% for the sales officers only and 60% attrition rate for the young employees. To discuss in detail what are the HR challenges with the banking industry, today we have two senior HR leaders. Let me introduce Mr. Sumit Sabharwal. Sumit is the CEO of Team Leads HR Tech, and Ms. Gauri Das. Gauri is the Senior Vice President, Human Resources with the India Factoring and Finance Solutions Private Limited. Gauri, I would like to come to you first because you are from the banking industry. So you see, according to the report, so there's a surge in attrition rate with the banking industry. So how do you see what are the HR challenges in this sector, and how do you see this attrition part?
Yeah, thanks, Romesh, for having me here and talking about this because it's a burning topic today. Rightly said, attrition is very, very high. To give you a data point, in some cases for sales, like you mentioned, it has reached up to 76% in the front line. So banking has become somewhat like insurance, where you come, you go, because we know insurance is traditionally a sector where the attrition was very high, but this was not happening with banking. And it's not only the other pieces of banking, it is the most coveted piece of banking also, which is investment banking. People are leaving from there. There was a recent report where they showcased that 150 high bankers left for better postures. And what were they? They were like corporate banking or startups or fintechs. So because of very high learning dimension what fintech provides, because we don't say that we are running banks today, we say that we are running a technology company which provides financial solutions. So the whole landscape has changed, and that's what is leading to attrition. It's also that banks are upgrading themselves, but the pace is very low. And we are very highly regulated by RBI. For example, my organization is promoted by a European bank. So there is RBI, there are internal compliances, and there are also compliances pertaining to group. So a lot of the compliance regulation is one area. And because of that, especially in sales area, they are not able to convert their deals. In other aspects also, there are a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of vacancies available in market. If you look at the index also, hiring index increased by 11% last month for banking. And banking, there was never a recession, even during COVID times, post-COVID times. And banking was one of the sectors which released all the bonuses, increments also during COVID. So a lot of areas because of which it is happening. But if I have to say the biggest challenge today, it is not one, it is two. One is definitely attrition and another one is upskilling. Because things are changing so quickly that lot many jobs are becoming obsolete in banking. And that's where upskilling and attrition I would call as the most important headaches today for HR.
And Sumit, how do you see these attrition challenges? As the Gauri said, 76% attrition, it is really very high. And Axis Bank has reported 40% attrition for the sales and 60%, over 60% attrition, that is for the young employees. And if you look at the Axis Bank, so Axis Bank has also reported 34.8% overall, that is the attrition rate. So this is really very high. So what is your opinion on this?
So, Romesh, banking sector has been ever evolving in terms of the changes. One, in terms of regulations. Second, in terms of the skills. Third, in terms of the technology now, which is very much transforming the entire sector. So when a lot of ambitious people are working in those key roles in the middle management, in the junior management, and they get a lot of better opportunities elsewhere, owing to the new skills that they have, the better working environment, the flexibility that they have, or the latest technology tools that they can use in addition to the finance knowledge that they have, is leading to a lot of opportunities, better opportunities in some of the areas like fintechs, insurance techs, the other financial instruments which are and the financial solutions which technology can now take to the end customers, not only in India but across the globe. So those are the kind of things that are leading to a higher aspiration of our workforce, banking workforce, and they're moving to better career opportunities.
Gauri, if you look at the trend, so generally the attrition rate has been almost equal for the men and women employees. But if you look at the data of last 1 year, so there has been a gap between the attrition rate for the men and women. For the women, the attrition has been on a higher side, and there's a good margin. So, how do you see, what are the reasons behind this?
So, like banking is a very stressful job, we all know, and we saw the recent video also, and that's a reality, no matter what we say. And the organization is great place to work certified as well, but it's a reality that you need to slog when it comes to banking. So when it comes to women, there is already a lot of stuff at home. Now banks have gone back, or I would say banks and NBFCs both have gone back to working from office. So the overall ecosystem has got shaken because there was a lot of dependency on it. Even if I take my case, when I had to go back, so we as an organization did not ask anybody to come back to office until, so we restarted from May 2023. But not every NBFC or bank is like that. And when I had to go back, there was a lot of resistance within, because there was a lot of dependency. Some of the examples might sound funny, but they were very, very critical. Like the maid timing had got changed because we were home and she could come at any point of time. Now to look for a maid who can come at 7 a.m. in the morning or 6 a.m. in the morning, I leave at 7:45. So 6 a.m. in the morning is a challenge. Taking care of my daughter was a challenge when I had to change my schedule. I have a very supportive family and we could manage it, but I have many friends who could not manage this transition and they decided to do something else. A friend has become a coach. She just did her ICF certification and she's a coach. Another one started baking. So it's like managing this transition was really difficult for women. Another reason is still the pay parity is not there. Women are not given same level of I would say it's a perception also, and still the leadership is male dominated. So lot many organizations have started looking at the parameters like how many women are employed or how many women are leaving the organization. I'm seeing some good practices wherein CHRO would talk to every level of woman who is leaving. If they are talking to someone at the VP level and above when they leave, for women it is lowest level, even the MT level. But we are still not focusing on the parameters like how many women are being promoted year on year. So there is some lacuna there, there's some scope of improvement there, that is lack of opportunities. And third is another perspective wherein women have also understood that they can command good numbers, and if it is not given to them in the same organization, they move forward. So I have seen through my friends, my network, I have seen some cases wherein women who were not supposed to be very good at negotiation, they negotiate 2 days before joining and they say, I have another offer at 50%, can you give me at 80%, otherwise I am not joining. So that is another dimension, but the number is skewed. The more reasons I would say lie in the area of not getting that recognition and managing the household responsibilities. So I would say basically 3 reasons which are actually leading to more women leaving the workforce. But yes, mostly it is same, and I guess the excess data also says that it is exactly the same or 0.01% difference.
Yeah, for the male employees, it is a 34.4%, and for the female employees, 35.9%, almost 2% gap.
So yes, so a small gap, but yes, the number of women already is 1/3. If you look at the overall data, so here the percent in terms of numbers, absolute numbers, it may be less, but in terms of percentage, it is a huge loss because we are trying to bring in more women. So three reasons from my end, Rumesh.
And Sumit, how do you see the rise in women employees attrition compared to the men employees?
So, Romesh, this has happened in an accelerated way more post-pandemic, especially when women, especially in Indian context, when a lot of house responsibilities are with women. But what happens actually is that the banking job, if you see, or a financial sector job, it's a very demanding and sometimes it requires a lot of upward mobility. A lot of stretched working hours, month ends are there, specifically in sales, and it cannot be in most of the cases cannot be a hybrid work environment like in other sectors like IT, where you can do the coding from home, you can do the testing from home. Here you have to be in market, have to be in many of the cases in front of the customers, whether it's corporate or whether it is retail. So it's a high demanding role. So when women capable women workforce is there who can have other avenues which are more flexible working arrangements, then certainly they are moving towards those avenues. So that's how we perceive, in addition to whatever Gauri had mentioned in her in her thoughts earlier.
Sumit, I think you must be aware that last month a video gone viral, and in this video, a senior executive officer of HDFC Bank is screaming and shouting on the team members, I think on the sales officers. And after this video, a statement has come in media by the MD and CEO of the HDFC Bank, Mr. Sasidhar Jagdishan, and he said that the working experience with the HDFC Bank can be better on several counts. So he's pointing out the employee experience. What do you think? Is there any need to improve the employee experience with the banking sector when we're talking about the attrition and the disengagement of the employees?
Certainly, employee experience, Ramesh, is and employee engagement goes hand in hand when we see at productivity of the employees and the longevity of the employees. When we actually follow a principle of employee centricity and then build an organization around that, then certainly employees become a very important stakeholder of any brand or any organization. Now, when an employee owns the brand and wears the brand on its sleeve and puts its 100%, he's fully engaged, he's fully into his role. So that comes with a lot of work, enhancing of workplace culture, Ramesh. And when this is there, then when all these ingredients are there, when you are having providing a supportive management, the entire reward recognition and all those things that come with it, then certainly these kinds of things which you just mentioned in this space, they drastically reduce. I'll not say that we can completely eliminate one-off incidents here or there, but a more inclusive, a more engaged workforce, a workforce which feels is motivation from within is certainly created when we follow all these practices.
And Gauri, what do you think? Is there a need to improve the culture when we're talking about the attrition and disengagement of the employees in banking sector?
I think Supit described it very well, but yes, so banking is a very traditional job, and if you go back 5-10 years down the line, it was most coveted role in the IT was not as high at that point of time. So bankers were like managing money, and they will always be suited, booted. Even today, if you look at it, the dress code is only in banking industry. No other industry is following the dress code. I see Sumit in suit still, but most of the industries have done away with it. But banking, since you are managing people's money, you need to look professional. So that has become the mindset of people, and they always think that I am the best attitude. So, these kind of things, wherein we are talking about the clash between the new age culture, which is more of empathy driven culture, work pressure, because I always say this, that managers are sandwiched between the empathy piece and the expectation. So if things are not done, results are not met, then HR will question at the time of appraisals, why are you asking for money? And if somebody complains or there is some disconnect in terms of team management, then also they are questioned. So there's a lot of pressure on managers, and they have to manage both, they have to balance both. But yes, even if you go to a PSU today, the culture is the chits are passed. It's not even mailer. We have done a lot of progress, but I'm telling you today's reality. In some of the organization, the PSU, banks, etc., it is still a lot of it which happens manual. It's still, I am the boss. They will not even ask you to sit when you go to their cabin. It does happen even today. But it is not the case in private banking, but there's a lot of pressure there. So overall work culture, there has to be improvement, lots of improvement. We see the culture in foreign banks improve. So there are three categories when we talk about banking here. One, we are seeing the PSU banks, the worst culture that we can say in terms of today. This has worked well for them for a long time, but not anymore. And that's why we are now seeing that people from large banks like even SBI move to NBFCs, move to fintechs. Second comes the private banking, where the example you cited, lot of scope of improvement. And then comes the foreign banks. Foreign banks are a bit better because the overall culture, and again, where you come from, if you come from Europe, you have a relaxed culture. If you come from US, it is even worse. So depending on where you are coming from, the culture would be like that. But as banker, there is always a thought process that once the person is in to do a job, they are there to serve me. It's like master and slave relationship that still exists. It's not that leader has become a coach. So I would definitely say that there's a lot of scope of improvement when it comes to changing the mindset, and that will lead to change of culture in banking.
So, Sumit, what would be your suggestion for the banking sectors to control the rising attrition and to engage the employees?
So, one very, very important aspect is the work-life balance, which has come in, especially after the pandemic. One has to view an employee as a human being first, and then his KRA, his responsibilities, and all that. So that's very, very important. Holistic view is very, very important. Second is to create a workplace culture which is inclusive. And when I say inclusive workplace culture, I mean a lot of employee engagement activities, an opportunity for employees to learn, continuous learning, flexibility, and of course the reward recognition, which is in line with the kind of role that person is playing. For example, if a person from frontline sales wants to go into treasury, or he wants to go into some of the other corporate banking functions, then those kinds of flexibility, learning and flexibility, if provided, will go a very, very long way in ensuring the well-being, overall comprehensive development of the professional, and also ring fencing attrition in many of the cases, Ramesh.
And Gauri, how do you see the future of job market in financial year 2024 in banking sector, and you can also include the insurance sector, overall the BFSI sector?
I think they have been consistently amongst top 5 when it comes to the hiring piece in India for last 6 months, and I see the same thing happening moving forward also, because our economy is poised to grow. And what does it take to grow? Money is first thing. So that is always going to be there. But yes, dynamics is going to change. Banks would not be as people centric as machine centric, and the number of people, we have anyway seen it to be declining. So the number of people employed today and number of people employed years ago is anyways coming down. But yes, still the hiring would happen, but hiring is very, very specific to technology piece of it. to sales. Sales is always evergreen, and I'm also seeing a lot of traction in HR also, because attrition is so high. So people have opened up, like you said, changing the culture. You will need those trained hands. You will need those people who are expert in change management or OD, and recruitment will always be there. So these 3-4 areas I see, banking and insurance also pretty similar, would continue to have, because insurance also, everybody woke up to the reality that if you are not insured, what all can happen in life. So people are moving forward in that direction. But I see it to be very positive when it comes to overall banking and insurance as a whole.
And Sumit, how do you anticipate the growth in jobs in BFSI sector in this financial year?
Oh, it's going to be very, very exciting and changing very, very rapidly, Romesh. Technology intervention is going to lead a lot of it's going to lead a lot of job creation, especially in areas like cybersecurity in BFSI. A lot of regulatory focus is intensifying as we speak. We see that a lot of things are becoming transparent from the regulators' perspective, whether we call it RBI, SEBI, AMFI, or the other regulators which are there related to the BFSI sector. Then demand for greater digitalization is going to rise very, very rapidly, and we may see a drastic increase in fintech collaborations, Romesh, which will lead to a interface of a finance interfaced with a technology role. And that's what we are seeing very, very rapidly growing and in very high demand over the last few quarters. And this is increasing rapidly over the next next few years. We should be able to see a rise in these roles.
Gauri, we tried to discuss the rising attrition in banking sector, other HR challenges, and what are the possible solutions to overcome the challenges. Anything else which we did not cover and it is important, would like to share?
No, I think we spoke about culture, which is very basic. But if I have to say one more thing, I would say that the 3H principle always works very well, and that's how we should run the organizations. It's like you connect with head. You give them vision. Once they have the understanding what is the purpose, how am I contributing to the purpose, then it will get aligned to the heart. And once it gets aligned to the heart, it's very easy to get things done through hands. So don't just tell them the task that this is what you have to do. Say, for example, we can say for my organization, we can always say that we lend money to businesses, but we are also contributing towards world economy. We are supporting exporters by giving them money so that they can overall support in country's growth. So the purpose is very strong, and when purpose is strong, then it connects with your heart, and it's very easy to work. So head, heart, and hand, 3H formula is what I solely rely on.
And Sumit, any of your final comments?
I think one very important comment is well-being isn't an option. Employee well-being isn't an option. It's essential in the new world of banking. Retention is the new acquisition. And when we discuss a lot about employee attrition, so the cost of attrition hits the roof. So retention is a new acquisition. And the last but not the least is in the BFSI world, we embrace the volatility and we drive innovation. So that's the concluding remarks from my end, Ramesh.
I think these are the wonderful and great suggestions by both of you. And thank you so much, Sumit and Gauri, for joining the conversation and sharing your wonderful thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Gauri.
Thank you.